At exactly 10:42 a.m., Melissa Carter was reviewing quarterly reports at her office desk when a soft knock came at the door. Her assistant Jordan peeked in. "Melissa, there's someone downstairs. Says he's your father." Melissa's pen froze mid-signature. Her heart gave a thump. "Hi, father," she repeated, her voice quiet. Jordan nodded. "Yeah. He said it was important." "I'll be right there," she said, though her voice wobbled slightly. As soon as the door closed, she leaned back in her chair and let out a shaky breath. She hadn't seen or heard from anyone in her family for nearly 10 years. Not since the day they threw her out of the house. Where are you watching from today? Kindly hit like, comment and subscribe to this channel for more. Before she went downstairs, Melissa took a moment to collect herself. She hadn't expected to see her father again. Not after what happened when she was 22. "I need to back up," she thought. "This won't make sense otherwise." Melissa was 32 now, working as the financial director for a major consulting firm. She had a good job, respect and a future. But her childhood, especially after age 6, was nothing like the polished life she had now. Her mother had walked out one normal Wednesday. Just packed her bags, left a note and disappeared with some man. Her dad was shattered. He filed for divorce and her mom didn't even show up in court. For 3 years it was just Melissa and her dad. He did his best, made pancakes in the mornings, helped with math homework and never missed a soccer practice. But when Melissa turned 9, her mom came back. And she didn't come alone. Melissa remembered the day clearly, how her mom stood at the front door with tears in her eyes and a little blonde girl on her hip. The girl, maybe 2 or 3 years old, had big blue eyes and wore a pink bunny sweater. "She's yours," her mom told her dad. "I was already pregnant when I left. I didn't even know at the time." Her dad was stunned but demanded a DNA test. The results confirmed it. The girl Lily was indeed his daughter. "I want to fix this," her mom had begged. "Please, let's be a family again." And just like that, her dad forgave her. They remarried in a quiet ceremony, with only Melissa standing off to the side in a stiff pink dress. At first, Melissa hoped things would feel like a real family. She even got excited about having a little sister. But it didn't take long for that hope to die. Her mom acted like Melissa didn't exist. Every sentence out of her mouth started with "Lily this," or "Lily that." Her dad, who once made time for math help and pancakes, now spent afternoons painting tiny nails and playing tea party with Lily. Melissa tried to be included. She offered to help, suggested family movie nights, even brought home picture books for Lily. But her mom always shut her out. "Lily's too young for that movie," she'd say. "There's no room in the car. She gets fussy around bedtime. You should stay home." By high school, Melissa had learned how to eat dinner alone and cry quietly in her room. Even big moments didn't change anything. When Melissa graduated high school as valedictorian, she gave a speech to a half-full auditorium. Her parents left early because Lily had a soccer game. She got a full scholarship to a college across the state and packed everything into 2 suitcases. "That was the best day of my life," she would later say. Not the graduation. The leaving. She studied finance, worked internships and kept her grades high. After graduation, she thought she could stay at home for a few months while she job hunted. When she showed up with her diploma, her dad met her at the door. "You can stay 2 weeks," he said. "Lily needs more space. She's 16 now." 2 weeks. So, her mom stood behind him nodding as if that made it fair. "You're an adult now, Melissa. Time to stand on your own 2 feet. Melissa didn't cry in front of them. She carried her bags down the driveway, head high. That night she called her college roommate, Jamie. "Can I crash at your place for a while?" she asked. Jamie didn't hesitate. "Of course. You've got the couch until you get back on your feet." Melissa stayed there for a month, living out of a suitcase and eating noodles while she sent out resumes. She finally landed an entry-level job at a mid-sized accounting firm. The pay wasn't great, but it was a start. She found a small studio apartment with peeling wallpaper and paper-thin walls, but it was hers. That day she made a promise to herself. No more begging for space in their lives. "I'll make it on my own." 10 years passed like that. Melissa worked her way up. Promotion after promotion. She didn't look back. Not even when birthdays came and went without a single call. Not when she bought her first car on her own. Not even when she won a company award and stood alone in the photo. She built a quiet, stable life. Friends. Peace. So when her assistant told her that her father was downstairs, It shook her. He hadn't reached out once in all those years. She rode the elevator to the lobby, unsure of what she'd find. And there he was, her father. But he looked small, sick. Once a broad-shouldered man with sun-browned skin, now he was pale and shrunken. "Hi, Melissa," he said gently. His voice cracked a little. "Dad," she said back, keeping her expression neutral. "Can we talk somewhere? Maybe grab a coffee?" There was a little cafe across the street. She nodded and led the way. They sat in the corner out of earshot. He stirred his coffee 3 times without drinking. "I have cancer," he said finally. "Pancreatic. Doctors say I have 2 years, maybe less." Melissa blinked, trying to take that in. 10 years of silence, and this was how they reconnected. Still, her chest ached at the sight of him. "I'm sorry," she said. And she meant it. "Is there anything I can do?" He shook his head slowly. "Treatment's not really an option at this point. But there is something." He leaned closer and lowered his voice. "The house," he said. "The one you grew up in. Do you remember it?" Melissa nodded. "Of course. 2 stories. Big yard. I loved that house. I bought it after your mom and I divorced, remember? You were 8. She nodded again, confused. "I never fully paid it off. Still had a mortgage on it. Now with medical bills and not being able to work, I'm behind." He looked down at his hands. "The bank is threatening to foreclose. They're going to take the house." Melissa folded her arms. "That's hard. But what does this have to do with me?" He sighed. "I want you to buy the house from me. Pay off the mortgage. That way it stays in the family. Your mom and Lily won't lose their home." Melissa blinked. "You're asking me to buy the house I was kicked out of?" He nodded. "I know how it sounds. I really do. But I don't know where else to turn." Her first instinct was to laugh in his face. But she didn't. Instead she asked, "How much do you still owe?" When he told her, her eyebrows rose. "That's less than what houses in that neighborhood are worth now," she muttered. "It would be a legal sale," he added quickly. "All the paperwork. It'd be yours completely." Melissa leaned back and stared out the window. "Let me think about it." Melissa spent the next few days going over the numbers. She called her realtor friend, did some digging, and compared the mortgage balance to the current market value. It was a smart investment. The neighborhood had grown more popular over the years, and the house, despite the memories, had good bones. She could buy it without taking on debt. But still, the thought of helping the people who had once treated her like she was nothing made her stomach churn. Finally, she called her dad. "Okay," she said. "I'll do it. Get me the bank info and mortgage papers. My lawyer will handle the rest." There was a long pause. "Thank you, Melissa," he said, his voice cracking. She didn't say anything back. She just hung up and got to work. 2 months later, the sale was finalized. Melissa Carter was now the legal owner of the house where she had spent most of her lonely childhood. Her dad paid off the mortgage and had a little extra left for medical expenses. Her mom and Lily? They never knew a thing. To them it was just a lucky break. Dad had figured something out, and they kept living their lives as if nothing had changed. Melissa didn't visit. She didn't call. She was fine keeping her distance. Then one Friday afternoon her dad called again. "Would you come to dinner on Sunday?" he asked. "Dinner?" she repeated. "Why?" "I want all my girls together. One last dinner maybe. Please." After a long pause she agreed. Sunday evening, Melissa parked in front of the house and stared at it for a long time. The same shrubs. The same porch light. The same cracked step no one had ever fixed. She rang the bell. Lily answered the door, now 26 and almost unrecognizable. Tall, glowing, dressed in designer clothes. "Oh," Lily said flatly. "You came." Before Melissa could reply, she heard her dad's voice from the kitchen. "Melissa's here? Great. Come on in." She stepped inside. It was eerie how little the house had changed. Same pictures on the wall. Same smell of lemon cleaner. Even the same ugly lamp in the living room. "Look who it is," her mom said, emerging from the kitchen with a fake smile. "Melissa. How nice." Dinner was tense. Her dad tried to make conversation while her mom and Lily barely acknowledged her. "So," her dad asked cheerfully, "what are you doing these days?" "I'm a financial director at Hensley and Moore," Melissa replied. "Wow, that's impressive," he said. "I always knew you'd go far." Lily rolled her eyes and muttered, "Sounds boring." Melissa noticed her sister's purse, designer of course, dangling from the back of her chair. When they'd arrived, a brand new luxury car sat gleaming in the driveway. "And you, Lily?" Melissa asked. "What do you do now?" Lily perked up. "Just got back from Europe. Spent 3 weeks in Paris and Milan. It was divine." Melissa caught her dad's quick glance at his plate, avoiding her eyes. "I bought so many things," Lily continued, practically glowing. "Clothes, shoes, bags. And I'm thinking about getting my own apartment downtown. With a doorman." Their mom smiled proudly like her daughter had cured cancer. Melissa quietly chewed her food, nodding at the right moments. Let them enjoy the benefits of the money she gave her dad. They didn't know. They didn't need to. After dinner, her dad walked her out to the car. "Thanks for coming," he said, looking genuinely happy. "It was interesting," Melissa replied. He hesitated. "Would you come again next month?" She looked back at the house. Her house. "Sure," she said softly. "I'll come again." And so it became a thing. Once a month, Melissa would return for dinner. Each time felt like a weird dream. Her dad would beam, her mom would force a smile, and Lily would brag about her latest expensive adventure. She never once asked how Melissa was doing. Never said thank you. One time it was a spa weekend in Arizona. The next time it was a gold bracelet she'd accidentally bought for $2,000. Melissa didn't bother responding. She ate quietly and made small talk with her father. Then she left. It was like sitting in a play where she already knew all the lines. But she kept showing up, for him. About 6 months later, her father called her on a Tuesday. His voice was shaky. "Melissa, can you come over? I'm having a bad day." She left work early and drove straight there. Used her key. Found him in bed looking worse than ever. His skin was pale and his breathing was shallow. "Where's Mom?" "Where's Lily?" she asked. "Shopping," he whispered. "Always shopping." She sat beside him, brushing his hair back from his forehead. "Have you eaten?" He shook his head. So she went downstairs, made him soup and helped him sit up enough to eat. That's when she realized no one had been caring for him. "Dad," she said gently, "when's the last time someone helped you shower?" He looked away. "I manage." But she could see the truth. Later that evening, Mom and Lily came home with shopping bags stacked high. Melissa didn't wait. "He's been in bed all day. No food. No care." Mom shrugged. "He said he wasn't hungry." "He needs help," Melissa snapped. Lily scoffed. "We help. We just don't do the gross stuff." "Gross stuff," Melissa repeated. "That's your father." Neither of them looked the least bit ashamed. That night, Melissa stayed longer. She changed his sheets, helped him into clean clothes, and made sure he was comfortable. He squeezed her hand weakly. "Thank you." After that, Melissa came over every day. She made him meals, did his laundry, gave him sponge baths. She arranged with her boss to work from home a few days a week. She even found herself sleeping over some nights. One evening, while helping him into pajamas, he said, "Would you consider moving back in? Just while I'm still here?" Melissa glanced around the familiar room. Her old room. The same bedspread. The same window overlooking the backyard. Her lease was almost up anyway. She gave a slow nod. "Yeah, I'll move back in." Her dad smiled with relief. But she knew this wouldn't go over well with the others. Sure enough, at dinner that night, the complaints started. "Why does she have to live here?" Lily asked, wrinkling her nose. "It's weird. She's always around." Melissa set down her fork. "If either of you want to care for Dad full-time, I'll leave." Silence. Her mom glanced away and Lily said nothing more. Melissa moved into her old room fully the next day. Felt strange but right. The window still had that peaceful glow in the mornings. Her father's breathing was getting worse, but at least he wasn't alone. Meanwhile, her mom and Lily kept spending money like it was growing on trees. New clothes, new furniture, another shopping spree. Melissa just kept her head down. She had her reasons for staying. 2 months after Melissa moved back in, Lily brought home a man. "This is Ryan," she said at dinner. "My boyfriend." Ryan looked like every gym-obsessed influencer wannabe. Tight shirt, loud voice, backward cap. After dinner, Melissa was in the kitchen washing dishes when Lily walked in. "Ryan's moving in," she said bluntly. Melissa didn't flinch. "Excuse me." He's staying here now. So you'll need to find another place. Melissa raised an eyebrow. And why would I do that? Lily crossed her arms. Because this isn't your house. When Dad dies, Mom and I inherit everything. I've seen the will. Melissa set the dish down and turned slowly. I'm not going anywhere, Lily. Dad wants me here. Lily's voice turned cold. He won't be here much longer. And when he's gone, we're getting rid of you. Melissa didn't argue. She just smiled slightly and said, we'll see about that. 3 months later, her father passed away quietly with Melissa by his side. Mom and Lily were out shopping for funeral outfits when it happened. She held his hand and whispered, I forgive you, Dad. Thank you for everything. He died peacefully. The funeral was over the top. Mom and Lily wore black designer dresses and clung to each other like actresses in a drama. They cried for the cameras, accepted hugs from guests, and posed like they were the only ones grieving. Melissa stayed back, speaking with old friends and relatives who remembered her. When she got back to the house that evening, she found her bags on the lawn in black trash bags. She knocked. Go away, Melissa, her mom called. This house belongs to us now. Melissa didn't say a word. She packed the bags into her car and drove to her best friend Jamie's place. Jamie opened the door with a hug. I'm so sorry, Mel. First your dad, now this. Melissa smiled faintly. Don't worry. They're about to be in for a very unpleasant surprise. 2 days later her phone rang. Miss Carter, a voice said. This is Mr. Alvarez from Alvarez and James Law. Your father's will is being read this Friday. Can you be there at 2 p.m.? I'll be there, Melissa replied, already pulling out her sharpest blazer. Friday came. She arrived at the law office in full business mode. Her mom, Lily, and Ryan were already there, laughing, dressed in designer outfits, whispering about what they'd do with the money. Mr. Alvarez opened a brown folder and cleared his throat. Let's begin the reading of the last will and testament of Charles Carter. Lily leaned forward, grinning. To my wife, Sandra Carter, I leave half of my remaining savings and joint bank accounts. Sandra beamed and squeezed Lily's hand. To my daughter Lily, I leave the other half of my savings, along with all personal property inside the home. Lily gasped, yes, under her breath. To my daughter Melissa Carter, I leave my personal library and book collection. Lily laughed. What about the house? She asked. Mr. Alvarez glanced through the documents again. The house isn't listed in the will, he said. Because, at the time of Mr. Carter's death, he no longer owned the property. Sandra sat upright. What? Mr. Alvarez looked confused. My records show the house was sold last year. Wiggly. Transferred to Melissa Carter. Lily's face went pale. Melissa stood up slowly. That's right, she said calmly. I bought the house from Dad over a year ago. Paid off the mortgage. Fully legal. Deeds in my name. Lily stood trembling. No, that's not fair. You knew we were expecting to get the house. You assumed, Melissa replied. But you never asked. Her mom was flipping through the papers like they were fake. This is fraud, she shouted. You tricked him. I helped him when no one else would, Melissa said coldly. You were too busy shopping. Ryan leaned over to Lily. Wait, we don't own the house? Melissa looked him dead in the eye. No. And you've got 2 weeks to get out. You can't be serious. Sandra shrieked. We need more time. We can't find a place that fast. You should have thought about that before you threw me out after the funeral, Melissa said. She turned and walked toward the door. Melissa, wait, her mom called. We can work something out. Maybe we all live there. Together. Melissa stopped and looked back. Funny how now you want to share, when you know it's mine. Over the next week the phone rang constantly. Sandra cried. Lily screamed. Ryan tried to charm her. She ignored most of the calls. But the night before their move-out deadline, Sandra tried one last time. Please, Melissa. We've got nowhere to go. We already spent the money. That sounds like your problem, Melissa replied. And hung up. The next day Melissa pulled into the driveway. A moving truck was there. Sandra and Lily were loading boxes. Furniture, electronics, even curtains and lamps. When Melissa walked in, the house was bare. They'd taken everything. Even the toilet seats. Only one room remained untouched, her father's study. His books still sat on the shelves. Lily spotted Melissa and burst into tears. This is all your fault. We're going to be living in a dump. Melissa crossed her arms. No. You're living in a dump because you spent all your money like fools instead of saving like grown adults. They drove off without another word. Melissa stood in the empty house, her house. She smiled. They took the furniture. But she had the deed in peace. Over the next few months, Melissa got busy. She renovated the house top to bottom. New floors. A modern kitchen. Bright bathrooms. The place looked stunning. Every room reflected who she'd become, not who they'd told her she was. Sometimes she'd sit in her dad's study with a cup of tea and one of his books. The house that once felt cold and unwelcoming was now her sanctuary. One evening she got a call from an old family friend. Did you hear? Sandra's working full-time again. First time in 20 years. Melissa nodded. And Lily? Retail job. Sold her car. Ryan left her. Melissa didn't gloat. She just hung up the phone and went back to her book. 6 months later they showed up again. Melissa opened the front door to find Sandra and Lily on the porch. Both looked worn down, cheap clothes, tired eyes, fake smiles. We wanted to stop by, Sandra said. Talk. Maybe, make peace. We're still family, Lily added. Melissa looked at them through the screen door. She didn't feel hate. She didn't feel pity. Just calm. No thanks, she said. Then she closed the door. It's been 2 years since then. Melissa lives in that house alone and it's exactly how she wants it. Her career is thriving. Her heart is peaceful. She hosts her friends, bakes on Sundays and spends quiet mornings on the back porch. Sometimes she still hears echoes of old memories. The girl they once ignored now walks through the halls with pride. She took care of her father when it mattered. She invested wisely. She never had to scream or beg. And now she sleeps well at night, in the house that was once her cage. If that makes her the villain in their story, so be it. Melissa no longer checks her voicemail. Most messages are from her mother, long-winded apologies and random updates. She deletes them without listening. Lily hasn't called in a while. She suspects the silence is more shame than peace. And Melissa? She's building a future. She donates to local shelters, mentors interns at her firm, and has finally started dating again. I never needed their approval, she once told Jamie over coffee. I just needed to prove I didn't need them at all. And she had. In every possible way. Melissa now understands something she never did as a child. Home isn't where people let you stay. It's where you are safe, respected, free. She turned a house filled with rejection into a place of peace. Her story was never about revenge. It was about reclaiming power with quiet grace. She didn't fight. She didn't argue. She simply rose. And as she lights candles in her living room on quiet nights, she smiles. Because sometimes, the good guys do win in the end. Remember to hit the like button, comment and subscribe to this channel for more of this.